Hey everybody, this is Scott from Lawrence Therapy, and thank you so much for being here to watch this video. And we're introducing Cleo today from Cleo Merit Courses. And today, this book, I Did It, which is a project we're talking to you about, and just like the story behind it and how it all came about, it's 99 cents for the next 48 hours. So like even if you want to pause this, click the button, get onto it, make sure that you've got the book, because it also comes with the bonus of the 3-week course of how to turn your how-to advice into a fully created online course, which is something that, like, if you're kind of either working from home or if you have to, or if like you're just looking to reach more people, different countries, whatever it is, and you have a story or you have skills or you have advice, the internet and putting online courses is pretty much the way to go. So let's get that out of the way, like pause the video, hit the button, and then let's get back into introducing Cleo. Cleo, how are you?
How are you guys? How are you, Scotty? Thanks so much for having me, mate. I'm so excited about this book coming out.
I'm awesome. Let's show it again. So like here it is. It's called
Hello.
Is that front
I did it
backwards when you...
No, I can see it. I can see it normal.
Excellent. So like
Yeah.
I've got a chapter in it, so just to kind of show up.
Yay! Go you, Scotty.
Yeah. Well, here it is. I just flipped to the right page, luckily. How's that? So rejection can't kill you.
You had that page set up, didn't you, mate?
I did not. But yeah, so I'm in it, and so there's 16 authors. Basically, what would you say is happening? Telling the story, obviously.
Yep. So with the book, so it's 16 amazing people that have come together for this project, and all of us wanted to share with you what little nuances and differences that we had in our past and what we overcame to be able to come up with the force of the I did it, or the recognition or the awareness of the, oh my God, I did it. And then to be able to overcome the challenges and then share it with the world. So we've come from all walks of life, from all around the world. So the 16 of us, as Scotty has said, and we've got most of us are from Australia. We've got one lovely lady from New Zealand. We've got another amazing woman in the Bahamas, and we've got 2 incredible ladies as well from Canada as well. And then everyone else is, so the 2, 3, 4. So then 12 of us are from Australia, but we're even in Australia, we've got Brisbane, Gold Coast, Adelaide, and Melbourne as well. So we're all over the place, and we've come together to share this message with you. So just so excited for it.
What I love about this, so 16 authors, and I'll just like this bottom part that says 16 mindset secrets to transform the life that you have into the ultimate life that you deserve. It's
Very much so.
If you love a short read followed by 15 more short reads, it's basically like almost every story is kind of like in 3 parts of like the pain and the suffering, the learning or the teaching of what had to happen, and then the results, the pleasure, kind of like where they are now. And it's really emotionally touching, these stories. Like people, some of them are doctors, some of the other, they've all come from different walks of life, as you were saying.
Very different people. But it's amazing though how we can all get together behind this book and share our stories, even though they are so different. And because I know you've read it, Scott, I've read the book, even though we weren't meant to because it's not out yet. Shh.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell them we read it. I mean, we haven't read it yet. No, we have, obviously we had to proof it and check it out. And then reading through the book and reading people's journey, and even though I've had the privilege of having known these people for quite some time, they're in my network, but then reading their story and reading their journey, you're like, oh my God, I had no idea that you had to go through that. There's a lot of stuff from lots of different colorful backgrounds that we've all had. Some of us are challenging with self-worth, self-value. Some of us are challenging with like life-changing lives and deaths and stuff in our families. Some of us struggling through divorce. Some of us struggling through our own monsters and our own self-sabotage. And it's just really incredible what kind of take we've all had, but we've all managed to use what was around us and the tools and resources and the knowledge and skills that we had to be able to overcome the journey. And this is a thing leading back to what Scott was saying, with any knowledge and any skills that you have can be very easily translated or encompassed in some kind of program or course that people can learn from and you can share with the world. And I think that's a really, really beautiful thing to be able to do.
Yeah. So that's what you help people to do. Like, you help people to build online courses. Chapter 1, Cleo Merrick, so that's you.
Yay!
This one, so like I'll leave it there just like for a second so that people can see it a little bit.
Yeah.
So the true confessions of an unresourceful rescuer.
Correct.
the more challenges you face, the easier they are to overcome. I
Overcome,
spent a lot
yeah.
of my childhood looking after other people. I won't read any more, but that's kind of, if you want to read more, 99.
That's a little secret snippet. There you go. Okay, done. Bang, gone. That's all you get, people.
So you
No,
started
it was
your,
very, very much so. I was such a people pleaser, and I would literally bend over backwards to help everyone that I possibly could. And then I'd get really upset and devastated when they wouldn't return that. And like I would get so frustrated and angry, and then I'd crack it and I'd get angry, and it's like I busted my balls trying to help you and help you, support you through this thing, and they wouldn't care, or they were like, okay, well, all right, well, don't make a big deal out of it. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with these people? I'm literally like, all my energy and all my effort is going into help all these people. And what I realized was that they're not the ones that had the problem. The problem was actually my problem. It was my challenge to overcome, and that it was my redonkulously high expectations of myself and therefore of them to for them to be able to like I just expected them to do everything that I would do, or treat people the way that I would treat people, and it's just not possible
yeah.
ever, ever. So
So it's been
I
about
was
maybe 5 years since I've heard the word redonkulous. That was
sorry.
really good. It's been about 5 years since I've heard the word
That's
redonkulous.
all you got from that. Thanks, mate.
Oh my God. But yeah, so you started off in so many years of hospitality, customer service,
Years, yeah, for sure.
rescuing. I think we can all relate to kind of like you give a reward, or you give so much to people and they just seem to sort of throw it out or spit on it in some way.
Yeah,
And
sometimes, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
for
and
sure,
what we
yeah.
have to see is
And
that
it's
like,
frustrating and it's annoying, especially when you're trying to help people through, like if they're going through a turning point, or you can really easily see that they're in a really bad relationship, and so you try and help, even though you probably shouldn't. You still try and help, but what I was doing
yeah,
was I was over helping, and I was also getting angry when they didn't take my help on board.
yeah,
The funny thing is, like, I can admit that now because I have gone through it and I did do it. But I know that a lot of us do that without even realizing and not even meaning to.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like when people are stuck, and it can be decades, absolutely, for people like where
Mm.
they're stuck in this mindset of like they're literally suffering. They generally they look at the world as kind of like a cruel, sort of a perhaps cold place,
Yes.
because they're this kind of like savior character, basically a savior character with rescuing everybody else, wondering why no one's taking it, and
Yeah.
then the advice that you've given is like, well, what is it that you need to see, which flips this entire thing and kind of actually just tells you the truth, the hard
Yeah.
truth sometimes about what you need. And I've seen like I think that even myself, like, and I've seen it in my life, getting stuck in that mentality of like
Yeah.
doing so much for everyone. Like, why am I the only nice person? It was not the case. But there's a particular method of how you give yourself to other people
Yeah.
that really creates that connection and allows you to create a disconnection when needed.
Mm.
My chapter was a little bit, all chapters are a little bit different.
Oh, yeah, they are different. Well, it's everyone's different walks of life, and this is why I love everyone's had a different life experience, everyone's had different knowledge, which is why I think this book is so rich with amazing stories, because everyone's so different. Your chapter was very different to mine, but I loved your chapter, Scotty. I loved
Yeah.
it. I thought it was a really, really good way to take on things, and we've known each other for years. And it was incredible seeing a completely different side of you, which, even though we may not have talked about it face to face, it was kind of like unsaid. But and it was just amazing to see that perspective. So I'm so grateful that you were comfortable enough to open up and share about that in this book. I think it's incredible. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Like what I was aiming for was to, I guess, like to open up, to let people in, but just to kind of talk about how to get from A to B, or how to get from one side to the other.
Yeah.
A lot of the times we hear is like it's just steps, but what I found really helps is the values that you can lean on, where when things aren't so clear, like if ever you have tried to meditate and it hasn't worked, if ever tried to like maybe lose weight and it hasn't worked, if ever you've tried to earn money and it hasn't worked, if there's an underlying thing that stops all of those things working, it's not
Mm,
just the steps, but sometimes it's kind of like the values. And like one of my first ones was
mm,
have a go.
mm.
And it sounds simple, but let's say like you're in an unknown, which is a lot of like, so much of what life is like an unknown. Like you're stepping into territory that is kind of unknown, uncomfortable,
Yep.
it's strange. It's not kind of like when you're an expert that all of the growth happens. That's like when the rewards come.
Yep. Yeah,
But it's like
100%.
getting to that to that actual place in your life, that involves kind of like leaning on something that's a little bit different. It's like leaning on the values that will get you to the steps.
Yeah, very much so.
So like kind of
Very
like
much
that whole
so.
deer in the headlights, which like as in like someone asks you a question, you're like, and then it sounds kind of like almost like an oversimplification, but just kind of like learning that value of just like have a go at things and rejection can't kill you, because that chapter's called
Yeah.
Rejection Can't Kill You. Like whether it's asking somebody out, whether it's asking for a sale, whether it's putting your stuff out there,
Yep.
it can be very uncomfortable and unpleasant sometimes at first. It's like, people try to give you gifts all the time. It's like the same as almost like uh, your chapter versus mine can almost be two different people that could be fighting if they didn't have the awareness, because like one's trying to give all the tools and the
Yeah.
other one's trying to sort of like fight off anything that's not familiar.
Yeah. Yep.
And so,
And you see it all the time, like in society, and like you see it also with your family and stuff as well, that that we're all going through our own stuff. We've all got our own issues, and like, and this is even pre-COVID, like during COVID and post-COVID, like it's the world's completely different. But even like, sometimes you might feel like, oh, I'm not getting along with my family, or I'm different, or whatever. And sometimes it's the way that you look at it, not necessarily the way that they see it. And I love what you were saying about the steps as well, because that made perfect sense to me. And I know you said, I don't know if I'm overcomplicating it, but to me that wasn't complicated at all. And I love to look at it like we've all got steps to take in our lives, and we've all got challenges that we face. So if you choose to visualize your steps as like a massive spiral staircase, or you choose to visualize those steps as like little stepping stones, or however you choose to visualize a staircase, or however you choose to visualize the steps is great. That's fantastic. But until you actually make the decision to step on the first step, it doesn't matter how you see it. And I love what you said, because it's pretty much spot on that, like we all have different values. We all have different ways of looking at the world. It's how we take action and how we move forward. That's the real measure
yeah.
of
So if
it. So
you're
I
looking,
love
like,
that.
if you're looking for a best friend to keep next to your bed, this is it. 99 cents, grab it, plus the bonus of like the 3-week online course builder. So you built so many online courses, and that's basically, that's how you get paid, because like, especially because we've had like the lockdown and so much of the planet's had that. And it's really kind of forced us to pivot in a way. Early days, like what was building an online course like when you first started?
Oh, wow. When I first started, I'll just tell you the whole truth. I was going to say, do you want me to tell you the whole truth? I'll tell you the whole truth. So we actually helped each other, Scotty. If you remember, you were actually helping me with the software to do the first online course, and then we were kind of like fumbling our way both through it. But when I then went on and did it for my own stuff, so literally extracted my knowledge and got the courses done, I didn't know where to start. Firstly, I think it was I didn't know what I had would be good enough to sell. Like what I knew someone would want to even buy what I knew. Because to me, it was just like, yeah, everyone knows that. Yeah, that's so easy. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, whatever. But not actually having any value of the skills that I had, let alone then putting a price on it to sell it. So I was so worried about that I got a lot of imposter syndrome, and I thought, well, oh no, I can't do this, and I can't put myself out there, and who's going to want to listen to my stuff? And then from that, I then developed a fear of technology, because then with the fear of technology was like, oh, well, like, oh, I'm scared to do that, and I don't want to go onto YouTube, and I don't want to go onto Facebook, and I don't want to go onto that, because as long as I didn't know how to do the technology, then that meant that I didn't have to put myself out there, so I wouldn't feel like an imposter. See? So yeah, it kind of sneaks up and gets you, and you kind of like self-sabotage yourself. So I was worried about it. Like I was petrified, literally petrified. I couldn't move. And I remember I think I was having a chat, and I was listening to Richard Branson.
Yep.
And he says that you got to ask yourself two questions. And he said the first question is, what would be the absolute worst that could happen? Like the absolute worst, like would you lose your house? Would you die? Would you whatever? So what's the absolute worst thing that could happen? And I thought, well, no one's going to buy my course. That's what I thought in my head. And the second question that he asks is, could you live with it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what if no one buys my course? Could I live with it? I suppose, yeah, I could live with that. That's, yeah, okay. So no one buys the course. Okay, fair. I could live with that. And then the other thing that he says is, it's like, well, the answer's a no-brainer. So whatever the answer is a no-brainer. Just do that. And I thought, well, if I can live with the rejection of someone not buying my stuff or not buying my course, then I could certainly overcome the issues of the holding myself backness with the imposter syndrome. So if people didn't like me, so what? What
Yeah.
if they didn't? Could I live with people not liking me? I know a whole heap of people from my high school that definitely didn't like me, and you know what? I didn't like them either. So
Yeah.
it was like, I just started. I did a video. I took the first step.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
let's say like just to see if this sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Uh,
please.
so because like everyone seems to want to put an online course now, everyone seems to have a story to tell or something to teach. So it's
Yep.
very attractive to put an online course out there. But
Yep.
then sort of going like, well, what if I toed it? What if I kind of make it really cheap? What if I kind of
Discount
um,
it.
you just get it? What if I spend 12 months building it before putting it out there
Oh
to
my
make sure
God,
that it's
don't do that.
perfect?
Don't,
What
no.
if I like spend like the next few months like finding all the right tools and gathering this hunter gathering process, and just like build a big pile, like a big sort of nest full of tools. Maybe
Mm,
that'll get me closer.
no.
Also, what can I do to make sure that my friends don't see it? What do I do to make sure that my family doesn't see it?
Yeah.
Just in case, like because they,
It's so true.
yeah, and
Oh,
then as
because I
soon
don't
as
want them to think that I'm doing this. And I had someone say that I don't want my peers to see it because then they're going to get the same idea and then they're going to copy me. And it's like, well, yeah, but they can't copy who you are. Like, it's your skills and your knowledge, and you're unique in the way that you deliver them. But like, I remember doing that, and I remember thinking those things too, and going, oh, I want to put it out there, but what if my family see it and then they don't like it and then they judge me for it? And oh my God, so bad.
yeah, because like one of the things that we get people to do is a jump starter, which is it's a
Yeah.
courage step. Before we give technical things, like we purposely actually hold back information on day one so that on day two we can give the information.
Yeah, absolutely. But the information that we're holding back on day one, we certainly give like amazing value and content day one. It's just that sometimes you need to what's the Chinese proverb? You have to empty the cup before you can fill it again. And what
Yeah,
I find is, like, with a lot of my clients as well, when they start out, everyone's like, Scotty, you probably heard this too with yours. It's like, okay, I'm going to start I'm doing online courses with you in about 6 months because I want to plan out all my content and I want to work out exactly what I'm going to do. Is
yeah.
that cool? And then we'll start doing the online course. And I'm like, no. Do you hear that, Scotty?
Oh yes.
All the time. And I'm like, no, don't do it. And I used to try and disagree with them. Now what I tell them is that, and this might sound a bit harsh, so I do apologize. It is meant with a lot of love. Now I tell them, I said, yeah, you could definitely do that if you want to. And then when we do start in 6 months' time, I'm going to tell you that everything that you just did is probably the massively wrong way on how to do it. But
Yeah,
if you wanted to waste that 6 months doing it, then that's completely up to you. Or we could start now and I can
yeah,
show you exactly the best way to do it, because I've done that so many times and I've stuffed it so many times. So I did build a 12-month course. Do you remember?
yeah.
I
Like
did
if
the
you want a swimming teacher, you
sorry?
need one. If you want a swimming teacher, get one that makes you go in the water on day one.
Yeah, well, that's it. You kind of need to jump in the water. If you sit there and do all the like, the theory of swimming and the revolutions and sorry, the what's it called? The relativity of buoyancy. If you want
Yeah,
to study who was it that screamed out Eureka? Was that Archimedes? No, who was that? No,
it
not
might have been.
Archimedes. Who?
I don't know, but it sounds right.
I don't remember who it
He
was,
was in the
but they were like, "Oh
bathtub.
my God, something floats."
He worked out displacement that the water goes up and down. Like if he's in the bath,
Yeah,
he goes
when
higher. That's right.
yeah. So if you want to study the theory of all of that, then that's great, but that's not how you're going to learn how to swim. And it's the
Yeah,
same thing with courses, that we ourselves put so much stuff in front of us to block us. We purposely create challenges to stop us, and we purposely self-sabotage ourselves because we don't think that we're worthy and we don't think that we're good enough to be
yeah,
able to have the spoils. So like I said with my clients, it's like, do you want to make this harder for yourself or do you want to make it easy?
yeah,
And half the time they're like, oh no, but I was just going to do the outline and make it and do the outline first? And I said, yes. And you'd be doing it harder for yourself, because then I'm going to tell you the way that you've done it isn't going to work, because you're
Yeah,
not designing it to sell to your target market.
exactly. So like, here's what we can do for people. It's
It's
like that we can
amazing.
help them.
Mm.
We can help them to build a jumpstarter course in 3 weeks and have it finished.
Yep.
If they, if you, follow the steps, have a go, uh,
Yeah.
basically keep up. Don't try to make it perfect. What we can guarantee that we cannot do for you is to help you make a perfect course.
Yeah. No, I refuse. I
Yeah.
refuse to. And like, if you guys are looking for someone to dot the I's and cross the T's, you're never ever going to have a course finished, ever.
Hmm.
Ever. Trust
Exactly.
me, I've tried. I've tried to make it perfect, and it's never seen the light of day. And in fact, it's still sitting in my computer, and it's never seen the light of day so far.
Yeah. Having
So,
said that, we don't
mm,
make people wing it either.
mm-mm.
We're very deliberate in what we do, because there's things that we address that people like. What I've found when people come to your classes is that what
Mm.
they don't necessarily think that you're going to speak about is why to build it. It's like, well,
Yeah,
why are we talking about why? Well, it
because it's the
actually is
most
going to change.
important thing.
It's going to change the how. Like, to give sort of an example, because I just want people to be able to to get this sort of like right now.
For sure.
This kind of gives the answer away a little bit, but you are building a course to save yourself time.
Yes.
You're doing it to basically expand your reach.
Yep.
The same as like people have said that, books are a way to get like, it's like a business card on steroids. It gets you out there further.
Yeah, very much so.
So do courses. I had somebody ask me like, can you help me to build an online course so it softens people up before I see them one-on-one?
Mm.
And so we had to talk through a lot of theory as to like what online courses to do. Like what happens is that online courses have a skill stacking thing happening. It's that like
Yes.
you've got to be like, these are the skills. You got to know your maths because you're going to be selling the thing. You need to be able to speak. It's an intimidating skill. They've said
Yeah.
at funerals that people, like they're more afraid of public speaking than dying, which means at a funeral they prefer to be the person in the casket than the one giving the eulogy.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
we want to help people to overcome that. That's what the courage steps are for. Besides the technical, the courage steps. Writing, it's a skill. Like the same as like that. Everybody in this book, like they've all done writing before, but like you can tell that
Yeah.
it's like not their freshman year effort. It's they've built like how many books have you done now? Is this your
That's my third.
third? Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's
Next year, I'm going to do another two. I've
yeah,
already got the plan and outline.
and you get faster.
Yeah.
Like with like how the first one that was like that 48-hour retreats.
So the first one I did in 2014, mate.
Yeah,
That's 6 years
2 days.
ago. That's this one, the compelling selling one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
It
it's
was
days for the what?
2014 that was published.
And then weeks for the edit, or and there was like a photo shoot day for the cover. So
Yeah,
there was
that one
more than
was a
just the
long
2 days,
process.
but
That one took me like probably about 8 to 10 months to
okay.
do. Yeah, this one took 3.5 months.
Yeah.
Mm.
So a lot of it was done quite quickly, like in 2 days, and those other months, like 8 to
But
10
the
months.
other months was me procrastinating, foofing, and not being good enough and self-sabotaging. And then actually when it came up to the deadlines, that's when I actually started like
Oh,
editing it. Oh no, there was a lot of, because I was so petrified, because it was the first time I'd ever done it. And this is a thing I think that we forget, that when you haven't done an online course before, when you haven't written a book before, when you haven't done something before, and I see it with my 3-year-old daughter, your natural reaction is to be afraid.
yes,
And it's limiting, and it's sad, but it's true. Your natural reaction will be afraid. So what I think, piece of advice that I could give anyone starting out with any kind of course the first time, or any challenge in their life for the first time, is if you are feeling afraid, then actually go, oh, hang on. Oh, check in with yourself and go, oh, hang on. I'm really scared of this. And
yeah,
own it and go, holy crap, I am actually really scared of this. And go, okay, why am I scared? I'm scared because I'm about to do something new that I've never done before.
yeah,
Okay, that's cool. I can live with that. Okay, so what am I actually afraid of? I'm scared of rejection. I'm scared of not being good enough. I'm scared of not being loved. I'm scared of whatever it is for you.
yeah,
But once you understand what you're going through and what you know that you're going through, it kind of like fizzes away. And then you can actually, okay, I am absolutely scared S-less, but I can still do this.
yeah.
And this is a thing, that being aware of it and just go through
Yeah.
it and just do it. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
imagine whether it's like you're outside the pool.
Yeah.
And it's cold. And you put a toe in, you're like, oh, it feels really cold. And then you jump in and you're like,
Yeah.
it is kind of cold. But after a few minutes, you kind of forget and then you start having fun.
It's all right
Then
once you're in.
Then you don't want to get out because it's cold out.
You don't want to get out because you're having fun.
Yeah.
And that's the thing but you don't know the experience of what that's going to feel like until you dive into the swimming pool.
Yeah. So imagine you've produced your first online course in 3 weeks and you look back and you go, well, that was a roller coaster. I learned things about myself. I had to succeed and fail, then succeed and fail. I had to feel really great. Then I had to kind of feel like I had to dig deep to find out what my blockage was. And we, every step of the way, like we know what we're doing. Like it's the first time we've done it.
No, it's not. Certainly not. No.
Yeah. Today for me is actually like the last day of one of my 3-week online courses, the Facebook ad basics, which is something
that's a good course too, Scotty. I've done that one. That's amazing, that course.
Thank you. Because there's something that we kind of do in like all of our stuff, that we do a pledge, which means that you guys do a pledge.
Yeah.
Basically, where like you have to say the words to each other, like, do a video, like face on camera, saying these words that I commit to this because, and tell us why. Because it's something that we believe in, like priming psychology. Like if you've done, I don't care where your psychology came from, but you've probably come across this thing, which is that like that you've got to not just set your steps up, you've got to set your mood up.
You got to set your mind up to it too.
Yeah. Like that. For the last 3 months, I've been doing an unbroken chain. I've already done this today, like my 30 push-ups and leg stretches and reading a chapter of a book. And so it's just something that I've just done. And what I've found is it does help with the rest of the process. For most people, it's like, I've had a 10-year unbroken chain of coffee.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with the coffee.
I've had a coffee this morning as well.
Have you got your coffee?
I've had one.
Yep, nice.
But that's all I'm going to have for today. Tomorrow I might have 2. But there's this thing that happens when you prime yourself. So going into like doing the steps, like technically we can help you to unpack your stuff and go, well, not just like what we're talking about, like the top down thinking versus bottom up thinking, just to quickly kind of describe what that is. Basically is that one's reactive, the other is planning. So like reactive is like, oh, I've got to pay the bills this week. I've got to make sure my online course covers enough of my bills. I've got to make sure that like, I don't get too many trolls this week. I've got to make sure that this box of books gets sold this week. And then all of your tasks are competing with each other versus like stopping the tantrum almost, like it's the defibrillator, boom, everyone stop, zooming out and sort of going, let's look at the entire year and let's not try to pay bills because we can do better than that.
Yeah, you can do better than that.
Yeah, let's
100%.
not try to be not sick because we can do better than that. It's like that health, as I say, is more than just the absence of illness. Let's not try to be not depressed, not anxious, because we can do better than that. Let's experience the full range of emotions and let's have, excitement. And then let's have self-reflection, like where you've got to have that dark night of the soul, that kind of thing, like where you challenge yourself, because everybody pays for their education, either before or after. They pay for it before and they get the result, or they pay for it after through a stuff up of some kind.
Yeah.
So that what we can help people do easily is like, to map out all the stuff that they know in a mind map. Like, if there was the octopus, like it's a circle with 8 legs. In the middle, you write your central topic because that's your how-to advice, that's your passion, that's your message. And then on it, you can write, in 1 minute, you can fill that out and just like say, what are the things that I know that I'm going to teach? So that's not hard. Obviously, it's something that most people don't do. Like on a given basis, if you look someone in the eye and say, have you done a mind map of the things that you know today? It's going to be no.
It's going to be like, what? What's a mind map?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the octopus.
Yeah.
The octopus is the best.
But it's not just the brain dump. It's like what we're doing the priming and then the brain dump, and then getting you to follow these particular steps when we've kind of said like, look, we've already kind of made these mistakes. Trust us, do these steps.
Yeah.
We have to, like, our challenge is to kind of go, well, there's small steps that people need. Otherwise they go, well, this is too big picture, too theoretical. So we've made it daily steps. But then there's the other challenge where they go, but I need the big picture. I need the jigsaw puzzle box so that I know how everything's going to look once I'm finished. And people need the big and the small delivered to them at the same time. And there's a particular way of doing that. If you guys are on board, if you're happy to do this with us and to trust us through the process, it's going to be great. And everybody's going to have like a point of failure that they'll need to overcome at some point. And it can be early, it can be late, it can be somewhere. It could be kind of like looking back. And so in advance, even before you start, you're going to have a time when you look back and you're going to say, I'm not keeping up with the steps. This will happen. This doesn't make you weird. This makes
It
you normal.
happens to us too, Scotty. It happens to
Yeah,
everyone. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
We know how to get through that.
We
We know
do.
how to help you
Yep.
if that's
Yep.
something that you feel that you need to do. And I feel that this is something that you guys do need to do, especially because of like the era that we're in. We're in
For
the era
sure.
of the internet, like where the internet's not just an option anymore. It's that if you
Mm.
want to keep up, it's like where they say that there's the rise and fall of Rome. There's no book that says the plateau because everybody's either kind of going up or down
Yeah, that's right. They don't talk about the plateau. No.
because it doesn't
No.
exist. Nothing in nature does that.
Yeah.
It's that it's very hard like for anything to create like a balance that stays like that forever.
Mm.
Even crocodiles that have been around for 65 million years, at some point they will change.
Yep.
We've seen kind of like that there's been changes on the earth. One of them is the internet. One of them is, you know, the thing that we this year that we don't talk about anymore.
Yeah.
But it's the time to really make that pivot,
Mm.
have a go at this, and trust yourself to fail and succeed, and to lose that kind of connection with the word fail as in it's a bad thing. When
Yeah.
you have a PT,
Feedback.
like, yeah, when you've got a personal trainer, they've got a terminology of fail, like where they basically say like repeat until fail. And then we've got the word failure, which is like, oh, this is a complete loser, someone who's terrible, someone who has no worth. And so PTs don't think of it that way. PTs think of it as growth, as in like keep going until failure means keep going until you've pushed yourself to the point where you can't go any further, and then rest.
Yep.
Because the
And
rest
for
step,
sure. Yeah.
it's something that's what I love like with our plan is that it involves the whole 360 view, because we haven't done this once, we've done this many times in many ways. And so it's the journey, it's the adventure that we're taking people on that really matters.
Yep.
Like imagine having your course out there selling, and then looking back and kind of going, well, actually, the way I understood it in the beginning, I can't see it that way anymore because I'm changed, or my vision of it has changed. I
Yeah.
know that
100%.
yeah,
100%.
we're not saying like just buy a tool. We're not saying
No.
Facebook ad. Like we're not saying kind of just like write down what you know.
Yeah.
We're not just saying overcome confidence issues.
Mm.
Like it's something that works. It's got to be the complete picture where that you've decided that you're going to have this online course and you're going to be doing the steps.
And that's the thing though, like with what we said before, that like the greatest challenge that our clients have when they come to us is like they want to write the course before they start, but then once they are taught this information, once they learn it, once they see the bigger picture and the smaller picture, and once they can understand why to use online courses, why are they so important, where to put them in your sales funnel, you're not just making it, oh, I feel like making an online course today because quite frankly I don't have anything else on to do. Oh, why not? I'll just give it a shot. It's not, you can't have that perspective. You have to have it. It's got to be with volition. And like Scott said, it's got to be from top down thinking. So you have to be thinking about it from a strategic and applied way of how it's going to add to your business and how it's going to add to what you're currently doing. And then from there, when you've got that perspective, your content changes. Your mindset changes. How could your content not? So what you thought you were going to give to people in the past isn't relevant anymore. So this is why like we don't let people create their content until they've done this stuff, don't we? Do we?
Yeah,
I ban my clients from creating content. They're like, oh, no, I need to create all my content. It's like, no, you're not allowed to create anything because you're going to stop yourself from then learning this, and then you're just going to waste your time making the stuff that you're probably not going to sell after this conversation anyway.
Yeah.
So it's helping people save so much time. And one thing I wanted to say about the internet as well, you said that we have to go online. We have to.
Yeah.
And with pre-COVID, we were heading in that direction anyway. We were always going in that direction. So what's happened is it's just simply sped it up. So in what was going to happen in 10 years' time was fast forwarded, and it all happened in 6 months. Yeah. So we had to get online, and massive corporations had to go online like they never ever thought was possible. People working from home, which again, they never ever thought was possible. Yeah. So we've been forced to change really quickly. But now that you're in that mindset of having to evolve and having to grow, this is a perfect next step to be able to add to your income and to be able to get some. So like we do make money while we sleep. I don't know about Scotty, but I get I wake up in the morning and I've got dollar signs coming in on my phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people are like, well, how do you do that? It's like, well, I have courses that sell automatically while I am sleeping all around the world. And then from that, people can literally just buy them when they want to buy them. And I don't need to be there to be able to talk to them. It's all done. It's all set up. I've already done the videos. I've already done the training. Everything's already there. It's all set up automatically.
They can
Instead
hang out
of
with Leo and Scott even if you're not awake.
Yeah, absolutely. You can hang out with Cleo and Scotty when you're not awake. That's right. And in the past, what I did have to do is I had to book a national tour to go all around Australia, and then also went overseas as well, and was heading to go overseas again, um, to be able to be in front of people one-on-one, face-to-face. And I've got a little girl. I've got a 3-year-old now. She's 3. So this was when she was 2, and also when she was 1. And as a mum, I don't want to leave my little munchkin behind. So what would happen is my husband and I would take her with us. So then we'd all go on this trip and then state hop around. And it wasn't ideal. And it was, I hated it, because then I couldn't spend the time they were on holidays. They had a great time in Brisbane, or they went down to SeaWorld or something. They had a fantastic time. And I was working my butt off
Yeah.
for nothing much, really. I was working my ass off for little in exchange, where I could be doing something like this with Scott, like this video that we're doing now. We're actually giving you guys good value and good content, which is great. And we're also teaching you why we do what we do and the importance of it, as well as telling you about the book.
The book. The book. 99 cents. You've got 2 days.
Yeah, so it's only going to be 2 days for 99 cents, and that's going to start Wednesday the 11th. At 9 a.m. We might have to pause for Remembrance Day.
That's okay. We can do that.
And that is for the ebook version, guys. Just to be clear, that is for the ebook version, is 99 cents. So the hard copy is not going to be available, I think, till the next week.
Yeah. People are consuming from houses now. That online streaming service, entertainment. They're on season 5 of whatever show they're watching. Food delivery, contactless payment, online payments. These things have been set up, like reading on their phones, watching movies on their phone, VR headsets.
But that's the thing, though, like these things had been set up so long ago, but I think a lot of us didn't want to know that they were set up, or didn't want to acknowledge that they were, because I don't know about you guys, I like walking into the bank. I'm old school that way. I like knowing the teller. I like walking into the bank, but I don't have time to. So I've been doing online banking for years and years and years, versus some people that are like, oh no, I can't put my credit card details online because something's going to happen. But
yeah, it's actually safe because you get the buyer protection.
Well, that's it. It's actually safer, but that's the thing, people don't realize that. So yeah, it's just amazing. But we have evolved so much. So I think what we're saying is that, like, what's a tiny little smidgen more?
Yeah.
It's just looking at it in a completely different way. And it's another good way to recoup some of the losses that you may have had over the past 6 months or 12 months, wherever you are in the world. So
100%. And so if you guys want to tell your story as well, like a really good way is to read other people's stories, starting with this book. The link is there to get it, starting from Wednesday, the 11th of November, 2020. And I can't recommend it enough, because it's awesome. We're excited. You can tell, like, there's a lot of energy going on with this stuff.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of, like, pre-sales.
It's such a gift.
Yeah, people have been asking for it, which is really cool. Because, like, with the 16 authors, like, their networks are all sort of jumping on board as well. So, like, they're getting into that 48-hour window. So we want you guys to jump on as well.
Yeah. So we're taking pre-sales, guys. And then what's going to happen is you're going to notify everyone, Scotty. You're going to email blast out. Yep.
Absolutely.
To tell everyone what's happening, which is awesome.
Yep. So the payment button will be there for 2 days.
So the what?
The payment button will be there for the 2 days under this video. And there'll be an email coming out. And also, like, the online course, it's at this point, it looks like it's going to be happening about like a week after the launch. So like not the 11th, but like the 18th. But you'll be notified about that stuff as well. But we can't wait to do this with you guys. It's really exciting. So
yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah. Or hit the button if it's like Wednesday yet. Or look out for an email if it's not, and then hit the button. Grab your copy, your ebook copy for 99 cents. Can't wait to get it into your hands.
No, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be amazing.
Excellent. All right, guys, hit the button. We'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Scotty, and thank you everyone for watching.
No worries.